Now we have our audio converted to the relevant low file size MP3 format. It's now time to upload the audio to your podcast website destination. This destination can be your own website, or to iTunes, a WordPress hosted solution, or specific podcasting sites such as AudioBoo. Wherever you want to upload to, you will need to organize a few things first. By the way, you don't have to use the MP3 format. You could use the OGG format or MP4A. In actual fact, you could use the WAV file or AIFF. It's just that if you want to get the largest audience possible, well, make it a small file size using a small file format such as MP3, because your intended audience really don't want to wait around either downloading the podcast, or if your podcast is going to stream, then the audience doesn't want their buffer to be choking every now and again, consequently halting the playback, simply because you've got such a large file size such as WAV or AIFF. Anyway, all that said, remember me also saying that a podcast is an RSS feed that contains other media too. In our case, the other media is our MP3 file. Well, to get our MP3 to its intended online destination, there is no better solution, that I know of anyway, than using Wavelab's podcasting workspace. Remember, we created one earlier? So, let's just go through what we find here, and how the varied options help our podcasting become discoverable to the outside world. As you've probably noticed, the podcast workspace is predominantly split between two distinct but related panes. At the top, you'll see information pertaining to your podcast episodes feed. As we progress, we'll add our files. We've only got one file now, but of course we can add as many as we like later, and any textual information pertinent to the podcast. Below, in the bottom pane, we'll see, as we progress, an item list of our basic feed, and the episodes we've included as part of the podcast. Notice at the top pane, we get 3 tabs: Main, Extra, and iTunes. We'll get to these later. Once you've created this workspace, Wavelab automatically includes these 2 date-stamped items in the lower pane, Feed and Episode 1. So, of course, we don't need to manually set these up. We will have to link textual information and our audio to them though. We'll do that in a moment. Let's move to the top now, the top left, and look at the main menu options. We see File, Episodes, Publish, Options, etc., etc. Moving to the right. Let's focus our attention on the Episodes menu options first of all. Here you create or delete or move your podcast episodes. We're about to set up our first episode, but you can have multiple episodes. The episodes options are new, and of course this will allow us to add any untitled episode with no information contained as yet. Notice the shortcut, Ctrl+E, Command+E on Mac. Now the next couple of options are greyed out at the moment, simply because we've got nothing set up yet. However, if you'd already got an episode previously set up with all its embedded information, then that second option down, Duplicate Selected, well, this allows you to copy the existing episode whilst also duplicating all the existing episode's information to the new one. And then if you select the next one down, Delete Selected, no prizes for guessing, you do exactly that. By the way, if you want to keep the episode within this workspace without actually having to delete it, but make it unavailable, then come back down over here to your bottom pane, and where it says Episode 1 at the moment, in the second column, the Enabled column, just uncheck it there. Okay, so that's what you do. Just uncheck the Enabled box down in the lower pane next to the relevant episode. Okay, now the next menu tab along, Publish, relates to how you upload your podcast episode to your chosen destination. The simplest way to do this is by using something called FTP, File Transfer Protocol. By the way, if you haven't got Wavelab and you are doing all this within a different program such as Audition, you can buy or even get free copies of simple FTP programs. And the information that I show you relating to this section in a later tutorial will still count. But, as I've said previously, Wavelab is great when you are podcasting because it has all this functionality built in without the need to download and install a separate FTP program. Now, at this point you might be asking, what is FTP? Well, it's a secure method of linking your Mac or your PC to a chosen destination and have your podcast upload securely and in the background. Once the upload is complete, it's only then that the podcast becomes visible to your intended audience. As I say, we'll cover this in more detail later in reference to setting it up. For now, just to finish off, let's link our episode 1 to our recently created MP3 audio file produced in the previous tutorial so that we can start our podcast. This is all we need to do. Come back over to your lower pane and select the episode you are concerned with. In our case, we only have this one choice, episode 1. As a consequence of this, the upper pane changes slightly and gives different options. And one of the options here, with this field, the audio file field, allows us to browse for the particular MP3 file that we are searching for. So I'll do that. I'll click on here and I'll choose to browse by using this option, select file using standard selector, and then just simply navigate to the particular folder on my drive where that MP3 file is. There it is. So with it selected, I'll hit open. And there we go. Episode 1 is now linked to our MP3 file. If you want to check it out prior to uploading, which is always a good idea, just come down to the play button down here. I'll just play the beginning. Here we go. It hadn't snowed in December. Okay, that's the one. Right, I'm going to leave it here then, now that we've had a look around the Wavelab Podcast Workspace.